Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Facebook Live for Top Hat Creative Marketing. Today we have Lisa Haas with the your strategy, market strategy. Blah blah blah. I just couldn't do it. How you doing today?
I'm great, Brett. Today's my birthday, so I'm actually fantastic.
Happy birthday!
Oh, thank you
See,
very
you
much.
surprised me with that one. Very
What a
cool.
great way to spend my day, right? To be able to
There
spend a
you
little
go.
time with you.
So you're going to talk to us today about omni-channel marketing and how that works really well for people. So that has let me out of the things I know about that.
Well, at least you're honest, Brett. I appreciate that. Yeah, I thought Omnichannel might be a really fun one to bring forward for your program, because it's a not necessarily new approach, but it's become a bit of a buzzword over the last 5, 6 years or so, especially in the land of digital marketing. I did some quick research and discovered that people typically receive about 1,900 electronic ads per week, 520 promotional emails per week. So, when you're working as a brand, thinking about how I'm going to really break through all of that noise is really important to any good marketing strategy nowadays. So, with all of that noise, we got a little bit of digital fatigue happening. And so, we want
A
to
little bit.
yeah, right. A little. We want to maximize and really optimize our campaigns to increase conversion, increase revenue, and really build brand loyalty. So, an omni-channel approach is definitely one way to approach your marketing strategy differently. So, let's talk about what is omni-channel. Omni-channel marketing means that you utilize multiple different channels, and you feed the same consistent kind of messaging across all of the different networks, both online and offline, to deliver a consistent message over and over again. So, this way, the user, or the consumer, or the customer that you're trying to attract will see your ad on Facebook, then they'll see it on Google, and then they'll see it on television, and then they'll hear it on the radio, and then they'll see it via email. And with all of those different delivery messages, utilizing the same type of content, visuals, graphics, you actually get deeper into the brain to create recollection. When I first started marketing in the 90s, I needed to show people something 2 or 3 times and they'd take action. Nowadays, it's anywhere from 7 to 13 touches before they even have recall around a brand.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty tremendous because
Because
we have so
we're
much.
pummeling them with all the different things, and it takes more to get through the noise?
It truly does. If you think about your own buyer experience, right?
Absolutely.
You see constantly, we see, a million messages a day, really, if you start thinking about, the logos on various pieces that we see in the communities and billboard ads and bumper stickers. Like, it's constantly, we're seeing different kinds of promotional materials and brand materials in front of us. So, omnichannel is one way to really shift our thinking into creating a more comprehensive and cohesive marketing message and bringing it to market. So, first, when we think about good omni channel marketing, I want to draw a comparison between it and multi channel marketing. They are different strategies. As I just mentioned, omni-channel ultimately uses all the different networks to feed and weave a customer through a journey versus multi-channel, where I ultimately decide I'm going to go to 3 different networks. I'm going to place a promotional material or an advertisement, a market message on that one channel, and I'm going to optimize it there, hoping to get my conversion and my metric off of that one network. So, place an ad on Facebook. I consistently use that ad to switch out images, context, text, audience targeting, etc., until I optimize it into a conversion event that I'm looking for. Omni-channel will say, I'm going to take Facebook's information. I'm going to take that ad that I'm placing on Facebook and I'm going to place it in lots of different places. But I'm also going to consider where the customer is touching my brand throughout the way. One great experience that I've had recently that describes omni-channel is through REI. REI is a local Colorado sporting good outdoor type of retailer.
Right.
And REI has a loyalty program that you sign up and you're a member. And then they place advertising out into the community to help drive people into the REI community. And then when you actually walk into their store, there's an app you can download that actually has recorded the history of your viewing and the purchasing behavior you've had with them. And it'll make recommendations as you're walking through the store of things that you had looked at online and placing them in front of you where now you're really there getting ready to purchase. So REI has taken the entire customer journey and placed good branding and messaging throughout the entire marketing funnel, all the way from building awareness to creating that conversion and really getting personalized and customized as they're utilizing an omni-channel approach.
Okay, so I've got a question about that then, because omni-channel sounds like you're doing one, and that's what you described about doing Facebook. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about consistent message, not a single avenue to market. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is the big difference. Multi-channel meaning I'm going to focus my attention on each individual at a time. I'm going to place advertising on that multiple different channels and optimize each one in order to create a conversion. Omni-channel actually moves into attribution theory, meaning I see you on TV, I hear you on the radio, I see your advertisement online, and then I receive a text message, and the text message is what drives me into the conversion event. But all of those other touch points were necessary in order for me to create that brand like no trust for me to move into a buying experience.
That makes perfect sense, and it's almost counterintuitive to me. I got in my head and said, "Oh, we're going to do one thing." No, we're going to do a bunch of different things on a bunch of different places, and we're going to do it for one person so that they understand. Oh, I know these people, or I know what they're saying, or I know what they're delivering, or whatever it is you're trying to do.
You bet. I can consider the word omni as kind of thinking of the worldly approach of really looking at the entire customer experience, entire journey that I'm going to take my buyers through. That's what I mean by the omni concepts. And then what different channels am I going to use to meet that consumer where they are in that journey?
Perfect.
Yeah. So there's a couple of different tactic tricks to be aware of. There's three kind of top ones to be top of mind when you're building a strategy like this. First is make sure all messaging is consistent across all different forms of the different networks and channels. What that also leads to is a lack of brand confusion. People are very much aware of who you are and what you're doing. And that creates that recollection that we often look for in the community when you see the Nike swoosh. Oh, I know that's Nike. It's because they've placed it in lots of different places. The second is to personalize where possible. So if you can create dynamic content that speaks to a specific consumer, you track buyer behavior or past order history, if you can use any of that data and interject it into your Omni approach, you'll actually be speaking to that consumer on a one-to-one level. And then the third is adopt a continuous improvement optimization mindset, meaning they're constantly looking at ways to improve and optimize to really move people into a conversion event. Meaning, don't just concentrate on that last click, but really look at all of the different steps that it takes to bring somebody into that cart, so to speak, on your website, and optimize each step along the way.
Nice. So that really does lay out how you do this and what you're trying for. Now, this is still big picture stuff. You have to have the very specific things for each one of those events that you're doing, each one of those touches that you're giving to that potential client, correct?
You do. So, the land of data is really the key here. So, you have to have a data driven mindset and a data driven organization. You need to collect all of the data, not just what you pick and choose, right? And then determine what data is the most important and critical to making sure that you're walking people through each step. When I build websites and look at analytics and websites, there's some funnel building inside of the Google platforms or Kissmetrics or some of the different tools that are out there. And you can actually build in such a way that you can see how people are walking through your website, for example, and where you're bleeding people or dripping people out of your funnel. So if you approach that same type of thinking into all of the marketing campaigning that you're doing and measure every step where possible, you absolutely get an opportunity to optimize and really maximize those resources. That marketing spend, some of that stuff can be expensive. So optimize it in a way that leads to the actions that you want.
Perfect. Very nice.
Yeah.
So what else do we need to know about this? Is that about it, or what are we trying to do when we're moving forward with this?
You bet. So let's talk a little bit about a model that you can use when you're thinking about building omni-channel. Omni-channel, by the way, can just be one or two or three different things. It doesn't have to be 40 different touch points. But remember, again, 7 to 13 is kind of that magic number when it comes to your consumer. I use a model called RACE. It's an acronym, RACE, RACE, when I think about building a program like this. So the first thing that I'm going to do is determine what am I going to do to reach the people. This is where we talked about that paid, earned, and owned the last
Right.
time that we met, right? How am I really going to go out there and reach the consumer and attract them into my brand? The second thing that I'm thinking of here is the A is act. And this is an area where you're going to define those measurable actions along the way. This is that data that you're going to collect to
Right.
determine that you're optimizing. Then I move into C, which is my convert. These are the conversion moments that you're having throughout your funnel. Not every conversion is just about buy something. Sometimes it's conversion, move to the next step, give you an email, download an ebook, all considered to be conversion actions. And then the final is the E, which is the engagement side of thing. Once I have you in the funnel, how am I going to engage you through that conversion and continue to follow up with you after the fact? So if anybody out there Googles race in the world of marketing, they'll find this model out there. This isn't my content. It's stuff that I learned just like everyone else. But it's a nice little kind of anchored environment where you can begin to build an small omni-channel campaign and really begin to test, track, and adjust to build something that you know will really convert and create the predictable results you're looking for as a marketer.
Great.
Yeah. And then the last piece is the benefits. One of the things that I really see as a benefit to utilizing an omni-channel approach. The first is you have a much better user experience. People really feel like you know them. They feel like you've heard them. The experience is one that they'll buzz about, create user-generated content online, tell their friends, right? It just enhances that user experience, which then leads to more brand loyalty. They're less likely to shop your brand. You're always going to come to you when they're looking for the thing that you offer. The next is a cohesive brand identity. Everybody knows who you are and what you do. A confused mind will never buy. So we always want to make sure we're really clear about what we're offering and the problems that we're solving, what our brands are providing solutions for. I also love increased revenue. Who doesn't like to make some money, right? So increasing revenue, that leading to that deeper conversion rate, is huge. And churn rate, which ultimately means people are coming back over and over again to come and spend money with you. And then the last is you can actually receive a lot better attribution data, meaning where do people truly engage with my brand, which will help optimize that marketing spend.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That really works. That gives me a lot to think about just in terms of how we reach out to people and what we're doing when we're approaching doctors and talking about things and all the different touch points. So
what
I got my homework.
Exactly. When I think about this from like a small business kind of component, here's an example of how I use it. That's a little bit more small business oriented, is that when I write a blog, that blog is my source material, and that's what leads to my email. And that's what leads to my social media content and posts out there. That's what leads to the little videos that I place out there. That's what leads to the upcoming webinar that I'll have. That ultimately leads to the conversion of somebody purchasing the thing. Right. So it doesn't have to be about radio and television and big marketing spend. You can use omni-channel even in the smallest of campaigns.
Yes. And just so everybody knows, we had a video, one of the first you and I did together, that you covered all of that stuff.
Yes.
The very beginning. So there's lots of stuff from Lisa back in our YouTube or Facebook pages that have all of this content. So you can we're building on everything here, aren't we?
You betcha. That's the key. That's the name of the game. Marketing is a long game, not just a short silver bullet.
Exactly. Well, I want to say happy birthday again. Thank you so much for joining us.
You betcha.
And really appreciate the time. And next few times, I've got some really interesting stuff that Lisa's going to be going over for us. She has it, I don't. But join us the next couple times. Will be the first Wednesday of every month, and we'll be showing you lots more stuff. Fantastic. Thank you guys so much. And Lisa, thank you.
Always. Nice to see you again. Always, Brett. Thanks for the invite.
Take care.